everyone. It's Jill Lancet, and it must be Thursday because here I am for your next free card making video. I hope everybody's had a great week. I hope I've got everything ready for you tonight. But you know how things happen, okay? I do not have an Aussie animal for you tonight. My week was extremely busy and I forgot. I also forgot my trivia on Tuesday night on my Facebook page, but I put it up last night and the answers will be up there tonight. So, yep, everything's okay, albeit a day late. Never mind, that's how it rolls around here. Now, you may remember that in this current series of videos that I'm making, I'm featuring a card sketch per video. Now, card sketches are very, very useful, especially when you've run out of Steam, Mojo, whatever's. This is when you need these card sketches. And this is tonight's card sketch. It's card sketch 4. Now, I hope you remember that they are on page 22 in the catalogue. Look, it's right there. I've marked it and everything. So if you have a look on page 22, you'll see these 22 card sketches. And we are featuring card sketch number 4. Now, I have numbered them 1 to 11, 12 to 22 in that order. So this is card number 4, card sketch number 4. Now I chose to use this beautiful paper, which is the gosh, what's it called? Surely I've written it here. Nature's Sweetness. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel this off. It's a post-it note. And I'm going to just pop this down here and we're going to go through it. So what I've done is Nature's Sweetness is Mat 4. Now, if you don't know what Mat 4 is, then you need to email me and get a copy, a PDF of these templates. They are in both US and metric size. I have the measurements plus the mat size. So if I tell you this is an A4 metric size Mat 4, and you are in the US, then please go to Mat 4 and the measurements will be there. It will fit your card much better because our two card sizes are different. So we have Mat 4. I've pushed it over to this side. I have fussy cut out one of the beautiful panels from that Nature's Sweetness. I've got some 2 coordinating strips from that pack of papers as well. And it's as simple as that. So inside, I have just put the 2 strips as well. And I've made this thank you very much. You are simply amazing. So those stamps come from Hooray for Surprises and Layering Leaves. So if you want any further information, it'll be down in the description underneath the title. I'll give you a close look at that. That beautiful, beautiful paper with the gold foiling on it. It is simply amazing. And I think this may have moved to an online exclusive, but if you type in the number in the search bar when you go to my online store or your demonstrators online store, that number there will get you straight to it. Okay, so isn't that lovely? It's even though this designer series paper is off to one side, by putting these things over to this side, it balances it out and it gives it a really cohesive look. And then just mimicking the 2 papers that are on the inside just finishes that off. So, yep, that's card sketch number 4. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these card sketches. Please let me know if you like that one. I love this paper. I really love this paper. It's very neutral. So yeah, just give me a comment below if you like the card sketch number 4 and if you like the series of the card sketches that I'm bringing to you with each video. And then of course, please let me know what you think of tonight's card and give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't and share it with your friends. We want to get this out there. I want everybody to feel the love that is card making. No, it's a lovely hobby. And here's the thing, you give them away. You share that that part of you that created this card. You share it when you give it away. So let me know about that, and we will jump straight into tonight's card. So we covered all of that. Now, have you got a laminator? I wonder if you've thought of using it the way we're going to be using it tonight. So stick around, make sure you stay to the end and see how this unfolds. So a couple of things we're going to do first in preparation. I have one of our gorgeous butterfly, paper butterfly accent. I haven't got the packaging right here. But yeah, they're already laser cut. They're perfect. This is actually half a one. Now, I made a card the other day and I used half. So we're using the other half today. And I want him in this orientation. So wings going this way. Now, I'm just going to use some blends. And this may be just a little bit hard to see in the beginning. But rest assured, you will see how it turns out. So I've got a couple of blends here. I've got dark Pretty Peacock, light Pretty Peacock, light and dark Calypso Coral, and we'll just go ahead and colour this in. Now, I struggled with this because I had no idea how to make a colourful butterfly. Now, here's the first one I did, and yeah, didn't like it. Really didn't like it. So I refined that a little bit. I can colour that in over that with a darker colour and not waste it. So don't worry about that poor little butterfly. You'll see him at a later date. So I've got some dark Calypso Coral and I'm just using the bullet point. And what I want to do is I just want to go around. If you can see all of the cuts, the cut out pieces, I'm actually just going to go around them with the dark Calypso Coral. I probably won't use the light one, but I'm just basically tracing, if you can see that, if you can believe that. So you can see that I'm just going around the edge, mimicking the shape of the cutout. So just bear with me. So, and I'm kind of just, I think I might have used the brush end actually. Let's have a look. No, I didn't. I used this end. So I'm just kind of holding that on an angle so that it gets those edges of the cutout. This is a bit fiddly. You can do this butterfly all one colour if you want to dispense with the fiddly bits. But I just thought it was really nice. Now you might have to keep moving that around on your background piece of paper so that you can see them and see whether you've actually coloured them in. So, yeah, just going around and making sure that I get an outline of the shape, basically. And if it's not thick enough, then, yeah, go back. By all means, go back. Now, these are really delicate. They're very, very delicately cut out. So just take a bit of care while you're doing this. And, yeah, because I wanted to have some of the Calypso Coral, but I really wanted it to be like as if it was spotting. But, yeah, I couldn't do it any other way. So now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to do the same thing on the back, okay? You can see it sort of bled through, but we need both sides of this butterfly. And I guess you're probably wondering what that has to do with a laminator. Well, I'm going to show you. So, yeah, sorry, can't colour and talk at the same time. There we go. So I've done that on both sides, and it looks pretty messy, I will admit. It looks pretty messy. But now I'm going with the dark Pretty Peacock. I want this to really stand out. And again, I'm using the bullet tip, and I'm just basically trying not to go over the edges of the Calypso coral. Now, as I said, you might think this is a terrible, terrible waste of your time, and you could be right. But, yeah, I just wanted the butterfly to really, really stand out. And we're going to do the same thing on the back. Now, I'm not going to colour this whole thing in because I've already got one done. But it's important that you colour in the back as well, because we will be seeing both sides of this butterfly. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. This is a pretty rough job, but I just wanted to show you what we're going to do. Now, if you miss some bits with the Pretty Peacock, just go back in with your Calypso coral and straighten them out, so to speak. It's not a Rembrandt, okay? It's not a Rembrandt, so there we go. So I'm going to leave it like that because, seriously, you know, you guys are going to be here all day. I don't want that. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to colour this all over with Wink of Stella. Now, I'm not going to colour the whole thing, only where I've already coloured. So I'm just basically running this Wink of Stella all over the areas that I've just coloured, and on the back as well. So you'll need to wait for it to dry, obviously, but both sides. So you've got Wink of Stella on both sides. And I know you're thinking, God, that is dreadful. But it won't matter, because the next step we're going to do is, it's going to be a small part of this card. So, yeah, the details of that is not going to be so great. Now, what I want you to do is, if you've got a laminating machine, now, to laminate that, normally you would have to put a whole sheet of laminating film to get that one little butterfly. But I've cut my laminating sheets up into 4, and I know that there's a hinge on this piece, and there was a hinge on the piece next to it. There were not hinges on the pieces that were cut subsequently from the bottom. But that's okay. As long as you can keep them together, all you need is a piece of copy paper. And you can do this quite easily with your laminator. I haven't got my laminator here. I'm not going to laminate it now. But what I want to show you is I'm taking my little butterfly, if I can pick him up. It's still a little bit wet. And I'm just popping him in my laminate sheet. Now, I will cut this off and show you that it is possible to do this with 2 loose pieces, okay? So I'm going to cut the hinge off, because I know some of you probably are going, huh? Well, because I've cut that, now it's actually kind of stayed together. It's sort of stayed together. But even if it hadn't, all I need to do is to pop my little butterfly in there, put it where I want it, and I would have, in hindsight, used a smaller piece of laminating film, but this is the beauty. This is the beauty of it. Now all I need to do is pop that in between the pieces of a folded A4 or a folded sheet, push that up against the fold, and feed the folded piece through my laminator. It won't come apart. It won't get tangled up on the rollers. Ask me how I know that. I am a laminating expert, folks. I used to volunteer for the school at the Deaf and Blind at North Rocks, and my job literally was laminating. As exciting as that sounds, I know, but anyway, I found that if you can do that, even if it's not attached, if you lay one on top of the other and pop them in a folded piece, making a carrier sheet, this is what it is called, a carrier sheet. You pop that through your laminator, and through the magic of previously doing it, this is how it comes out. So, and that's exactly how I did that. So you can see our little butterfly from both sides. What I forgot to do was put the wing of Stella on the back side, but I have mentioned that to you. I don't know if the glare allows you to see that, but isn't that lovely? I think that's lovely. Okay, so now we're going to put our little card together, and I have done prep for this because, you know, I know what it's like. We're all busy. You don't want to sit here seeing me do it all. But anyway, so there's 2 pieces. Now, the other pieces I have already die cut, and I want to show you how I did that, okay? So I have a piece, I have our card base, our normal card base. It is currently on a piece of just computer paper, just scrap computer paper, because ultimately I did not want the underside of this card to be scratched, which is what happens sometimes when you use your cutting plates. They do leave faint lines. So when your cutting plates get scratched up, they can be transferred to your the underside of your piece of cardstock, which normally wouldn't be a problem. But we want this to be the inside of our card. Now here's a piece, the first piece, which is matte 1, and it is in the beautiful pretty peacock. Now I have cut that, and you may or may not see slight markings on there because I don't need to do that. So I just cut this piece out because I didn't want the machine to go through 3 layers, 2 layers of cardstock and some designer series paper. So I've just cut out this aperture with the deckled rectangle. Now I have got some notes here, scribbled notes. This is the second largest deckled rectangle die. Now that fits perfectly on A4 size cardstock. You may have to go down a size if you're using the US. Okay, so this is matte 1 in the US, and you may have to go down a size. Oh no, that looks okay, because we really only need a small border of this showing, and when I complete the card you'll see. This is a piece for another day, so I've reduced the thickness of the center of the card, and I've got an extra piece that I can use for another day. So that was pre-done. This is our card base, and you'll see that it's cut right through that piece of paper underneath. It's cut out. I have only laid this on with some washi tape in the position that it will be, and I've cut through both pieces. Now you might be thinking, why didn't you just glue it? There is method in my madness. Okay, so I'm just going to take this washi tape off. Now look, with washi tape it's best to do it gently and kind of pull it against itself. Just do it gently, because it can still tear even though it is washi tape. So just be aware of that. Always be gentle. So we have our card base, we have you can see the outline of the designer series paper as it went through, but you won't even see that because it is going to be covered up by this piece. And we have this, and this will be used for a separate project. So I have a piece of the beautiful designer series paper and a piece of the cardstock that was underneath. All of those items can be used for another project. Now, the reason I did not glue this onto here is because we are going to sandwich this between the two. So I want to pop this on our card front. Now, it's our normal size card base, okay? Let me find my score line again. It got squished. Got squished in the die cutting process. So hang on 2 secs. So I just want to establish that. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this on here, and it is a small border. It is matte 1, whatever country you are in, it is matte 1. And the reason there is this big space is because this will cover all of that up. I need to see to match this up, and I didn't want to have to cut through 3 thicknesses. So I'm going to glue this on here right now, and this card will be taking shape very, very soon. Oops. So, yep, I think the glue was laying on its side over there. So we'll just give this a little bit of glue. Now, you don't need a terrible lot, okay? We're putting pieces over the top of this that are going to help hold it in place as well. So, yeah, my philosophy with glue is less is best, because you just never know when it's going to ooze out. So we want to lay that on the card front, and just, you know, check your border and make sure your border is okay. And then I'm going to glue this, and the most important thing is the aperture. But I'm going to put my little butterfly in between them. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that there's a lot of laminating film left. So I think I'll just cut this down into a smaller square, and just make sure that my butterfly is totally okay. Let's just cut some of this off. And this is what I mean. In hindsight, I would not have used such a big piece of laminating film. Now, don't throw those away. You can use these things for hinges. You just score them and fold them, and they can be used for little springy things, you know, if you want a bit of movement in your card. So, yeah, don't throw those bits out. So let's see what we've got here now. Now, I want him to be kind of over this side of the circle. So I need some tear and tape, and I'm just going to pop a bit around the circle. So just a little bit. Where's my scissors? I struggle with this. Seriously, I do. Okay. Oh, and it's extremely sticky. So just on all 4 edges around that circle, and you don't need a lot, because we're going to actually be doing it on the other piece as well, on the other side. Right, so that is in position now. So I want to take the protective paper off that. Take your pick is really, really good for this. Now what I find is give that a really good rub, and then just like lift from the side, and it seems to work every time for me. And then I just sort of peel it up. Where's my little bin? So peel that up, peeling this one up and this one. And there we go. Now I can lay my butterfly. Now don't forget, we want him with his wings going this way. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that he's in the topmost part of this circle and to one side. I'm just going to pop that down into that tape. Now I can do the same thing with this piece. This is our designer series paper. I want 4 little pieces just around the edge. So 1, 2, 3. I'm sure there must be a quicker way, but I don't know what it is. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to peel that off. I'm going to peel that off and pop some glue around the outer perimeter of this piece. Yeah. Guys, we're getting there. We're getting there. I think this is a lovely card. I'd really love for you to stick to the end and just see how it turns out. And then I'm going to show you the stamp sets that I'm going to use in this card. Now I've got my Cassie Cumberland Art Society class on this coming Saturday. So that's all right. I wanted some glue on there, didn't I? There's a bit of a crease there where it got smushed. Glue. There it is. Stop looking. I found it. So I've got these pieces of tape and I just want to pop some glue in each corner effectively along the edges and across that bottom part. And now I need to lay this very, very carefully to line up with the aperture. So just pardon me if my head gets in the way. I need to make sure my edges are straight. My border looks okay. My border looks okay. My aperture looks good. And then I can just lay that down. And now we have our little butterfly on both sides. It's securely tucked inside this front card layer. And you can see it from both sides. There's no untidiness. And yeah, but we're not finished yet. We're not finished yet. I have a piece of the soft sea foam. It's just the soft sea foam cardstock. This is going to be our insert, but we want to do some stamping and colouring on this before we put it into the card. Now, the stamp sets that I'm using are these two, Poised, and I'm not sure how you say this, Peony. I think it's Peony. I'm using this one here. And from this beautiful You Are Beautiful stamp set, can't wait to have a go at those two. I hope that's not glary. We're using You Are Beautiful and Make Today Amazing. So I have those set up. I have those two set up on a stamping platform, and we'll go ahead and do our next bit of stamping. Now I've got 2 ink pads here. I've got Pretty Peacock and Calypso Coral. I have my stamping platform and I want to show you, sometimes it's difficult, especially if you want to put a red rubber stamp right on the very edge of a piece of cardstock. Sometimes the edges of your stamping platform kind of impede that. So think outside the box, okay? Think outside that square. Now I've got these little triangles, and they're designed actually for this, but you could use the kids' set squares. It's only basically to set up the paper and the stamp set. So I'll show you how I managed to do this. So I popped this little triangle in the corner here, and I need, where is it? Where are all my bits and pieces? There's, oh, here it is. Here it is. Stop looking. So this is a scrap, and it's really skinny. It's like 1 centimetre wide. That's about 3/8 of an inch. I don't want to throw that out. But sometimes it's really hard to get a sentiment stamp straight. So what I did was I set the stamp up so that when I pop this corner in here, and I will have to remove it because it does get in the way of the stamp, but I can pop my piece of cardstock, my little scrap, I can pop that there like that and put the magnets down on it. So I'm pressing down on my little triangle piece, I'm putting my paper up against it, and I'm sticking a magnet on that. Now I just want to double check and make sure that is exactly where I want it. It is. So now I'm going to put a second magnet on just to hold the very, very tippy edge, and I'm going to remove my triangle. Now that should be perfectly placed. Double finger crosses, okay? Double finger crosses. So let's see. It might take a little bit of initially mucking around. Then, of course, I did it on scrap to make sure it was in the right spot. So I'm just going to lay that down. But it takes it away from the edge. It takes it away from this edge. Otherwise, you've got to kind of set it up in the middle, and sometimes that's as much of a pest as anything else. So that fits really beautifully. I'm just going to give it another little ink, and I really only press that lightly because this is such a fine font. If you start pressing that really hard, you're going to distort that beautiful font. So that stamped in exactly the same place. I have my little triangle to thank for that. If I was doing multiples of this card, that would make it very, very much easier to stamp on a really skinny piece. So I'm just going to clean my stamp. And then I set up the sentiment for the insert of the card on the other side. So I've set that up as well. I just need a magnet to hold it in place. I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock again, and I'm just going to ink this up. Now, inking it lightly the first time. Make sure your cardstock is up in the corner. Again, it's a very fine font, so you don't want to be pressing that really heavily. I'm just going to give it another little go. Much better to do 2 light applications than 1 heavy one. So there we have that, and I'm pretty sure I'm happy with that. Of course I'm happy with that because that looks really, really good. So I'm going to just give this a clean off. Now the reason it's way up there is because we don't want to see that from the front of the card. So here we are, we've got our bits and pieces together. Now, when I close the card, you cannot see that greeting, it's behind there. Now I'm going to stamp the beautiful peony stamp. Peony, I don't know. Where is the emphasis? Is it on peony or is it on peony? Let me know. I'm not a gardener. I'm terrible with things like that. So I'm just opening the Calypso Coral, and I want part of this flower to be showing through to the front of the card. So I want to get this in place. I don't want to glue it in place. But I just want to get an idea of where I'm going to stamp it. Now I want the butterfly to look like he's hovering near this flower. So I'm going to ink this up. And yes, I'm doing it in Calypso Coral. So I can see basically where I want that. So I kind of want that like that. So I'm just going to stamp it. And look, if it's in the wrong place, the end of the world will not happen. I promise you. So I'm just giving that a really nice stamp. And now we're going to do some colouring. Yes, on the inside of the card. So we're going to colour this piece, and I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that, yeah, you may or may not know. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is to use my watercolour pencils. Now, I haven't got all of these colours. I haven't got Pretty Peacock, but I do have Bermuda Bay, which is a retired colour, but it works. I've got Granny Apple Green, and I have Calypso Coral. So the first thing I'm going to do is just some light pencil colouring. And look, I kid you not, light. So I'm just very, very light touch. You probably can hardly even see that. But I'm just going around the bottom of a few of these petals. Now you can go over it a few times. If you use a light touch, you can actually go over it a few times. So, and I'm going to do the leaves the same way. So, yeah. So just little circles, very light touch, just at the base of the petals, and anywhere there would be a bit of shadow. So there'd be a little bit of shadow in there, and I hope you can see this. A little bit of shadow in there. And the technique that we're going to use is also going to pick up the ink that we've stamped in. So yeah, we're going to get a bit of colour from two ways. And it does not have to be perfect. Trust me, guys, it does not have to be perfect. So you can leave a bit of the original colour. I'm now going to do the leaves. And this is the Granny Apple Green. So I'm just doing the same thing. Just little tiny circles. Now, I haven't pre-done this for you. But I'm just leaving a little bit of white, or not white, but a little bit of the original cardstock from underneath. And this is meant to be quick and very, very easy. You know, it's not precision artwork, okay? You just want some colour on this. So now I'm going in with the, what is the Bermuda Bay, but if you had a Pretty Peacock, yeah. So just doing a little bit of over-colouring on the base of the leaves. If there's a vein line, I'm going just very gently over the vein. And then, if you don't know about this next step, I really hope it rocks your world. Wink of Stella. Wink of Stella you can colour with. So I'm just getting a piece of scrap paper underneath. I just want that to get going. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this big petal here. I want you to see the difference in this. It will take the ink from the stamped image, a very small amount of it, but it will also blend in the pencil colouring that we have done. So it looks a bit wet at the moment, only because it is. So when we get that dry, we'll have a look. So, I mean, I'm not being too precise. The colour is at the base. It will pull it out and blend it up a bit. So effectively this is a paintbrush. So yeah, use it as you would a paintbrush. But instead of just water coming out, it's beautiful wink of Stella. So I'll just quickly do the rest of this. And there you have it. And you can see where it's drawing out the ink as well as the pencil. So the pencil is just creating that last little bit of shadow on those petals. Now with the leaves, I'm starting with, I just cleaned that in case there was any Calypso coral on there. And with the leaves, I'm just starting at the tip. And I'm just working my way down. And you can see probably better here how it blends the two greens together. See, I'm pulling that green out. And look, don't be afraid to leave some areas that don't have colour on them at all, because, you know, light bounces off things and creates that white space. And the fact that I stamped this in Calypso Coral, at first I thought, oh my gosh, that looks really weird. But after a little while, it looks okay. Well, to me anyway. You might not like it, but there you go. Now I could have gone quicker. I could have taken more time, but you can see the beautiful effect of the Wink of Stella, I hope. So that is going in the inside of our card, and we'll pop that in, and you'll see that you can see that flower. It looks like the butterfly is about to land on it. So we'll pop that in. I'll just get some of this Wink of Stella off me because I've got it everywhere. Everywhere. Okay. So we'll just glue this in. And concentrate then on the rest of the card. Okay, so it is the same border as the Pretty Peacock on the front of the card. So just check your border, see how you're going. But I think that's lovely. Now you've got a bit of area here to write. You can write over here as well, but it just makes the inside of the card just a little bit more interesting. Now that is still wet. I can see it's still wet, so we'll come back and look at that in a minute. But there's our little butterfly about to land on our flower. Now the front of the card, we have our beautiful message. You are beautiful. I've got this piece of, this is the reverse of a paper that's also in this pack. It's a slightly different design. But the reverse of it is Pretty Peacock, so why not? Now this is, is 1 centimetre, and this is 1.5 centimetres, or 3/8 of an inch and 9/16 of an inch. So I'm simply going to glue them together, and we will trim them off when we've done that. So you can use whatever adhesive you like. It will be bigger than the piece that we're going to trim it, so it's bigger than what we need. So I'm just laying that down, hopefully with an even border top and bottom. And there we go. Does that look straight? That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good to me. Now that's going on the front of our card like this. So you can trim this up a bit if you want that right on the edge. We've got plenty of room to do that. So I may well trim that right to the edge. We'll trim it to the edge of the Designer Series paper. So I'll just pop a little marker there and trim that about there. And then I will trim that about there. So I'll just get my little little trimmer out. Now I can see the mark. I'm not sure whether you can see the mark. Push it up against the straight edge and hold it with your paper guide, because little strips like this tend to want to wriggle around. So here's my other mark, pushed up against there and held with there. That is scrap. But then these were scraps as well. So we've given them a second chance at life. So that's going on the card front like that. But before I do that, I wanted to put some of this. Look, I collect, you know, I collect stuff. I got these at like a $2 shop. And it's the thinnest metallic thread. And I got it in a pack that had about, I don't know, about there was about five colours in it. So there was different colours, silver, gold, there was like a metallic blue. Anyway, suffice it to say, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find that, but it's so fine. It is actually like thread. So what I want to do is just pop a bit of tear and tape across the back of this, if I can find the end. And I'm going to attach this to the back. I have a bit of trouble with sometimes with things like this. And yeah, so that's on there now. And I'm going to take the backing paper off, because I like to work a bit quickly with this, because this stuff can go a little bit crazy really quickly. So normally what I do is I just wrap it around like 4 fingers. I don't know, about 5 or 6 times, something like that. You get a big spool of it. So yeah, don't be afraid to use it. So I don't know how many times that was. I'm just going to snip that off and tease it out a little bit so it's a bit messy, and then just stick it down. And this is what I mean, it can go a little bit crazy a little bit quickly. So now I've got that, and I want to pop this up. So I want to use some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I want to use these bits that are on the edges. Don't waste them, guys. They're still Stampin' Dimensionals, and they're really handy for things like this. So I'm just going to peel this off, pop this on the back. It's going to also secure, it's also going to secure the metallic thread. And I'm going to pop that on the front of the card. Now where you put it, you know, up, down, further down, wherever you want is up to you. I think the sweet spot is about 1/3. So let's see if that's straight. That looks pretty straight. Now that may not look like much, but it catches the light. It's light, it doesn't create bulk, and it's light. And then when this card is opened, you can still see what's happening inside to a certain extent. So this is a lovely mantelpiece card as well. You've got a little bit of metallic happening here. You can put gems on that if you want. Personally, I don't think it needs it. You've got Wink of Stella in there, Wink of Stella there, and you've got this very fine filament, metallic looking silver filament. And I think that's enough. Now, you are beautiful. Make today amazing. Possibly could have gone over a little bit over that side. Handmade card. But I think that's lovely. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are. So please don't forget that little trick with the laminating sheets. Cut them up as much as you want to. Just make sure that they're together when they go inside your carrier sheet, which is simply a piece of computer paper or whatever, and feed the folded edge in first. Laminating expert. All my friends that used to work at the Institute, if there was a laminating incident, they came to me. That's my claim to fame. So that's our beautiful card. I hope you like that. That's an alternative to window sheets. I've had a laminator for a long time. They're not that expensive these days. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention too is don't forget, if you possibly could, like, subscribe, share. That is my host code for May. It ends on the 31st. We have a fantastic joining offer at the moment. If you would like more information on that, please email me here. I would be happy to demystify that. But the biggest mystery is, why wouldn't you? That would be the biggest mystery in my mind. 70 items free, valued at $144. You pay $169 and you get that plus up to $235 worth of items that you choose from the catalogue. Couldn't go wrong with that. But if you'd like more information, email me there. You can check it out on my online store here, jilllancet.stampinup.net. If you care to donate to the Kanamaluka Wildlife Rehabilitation Centre, it is in Tasmania. They are doing wonderful work. They depend on donations and volunteers, and that is my nephew, and he and Jess and their family run this not for profit to help our wildlife. So if you want to know more about that, the link will be down in the description, along with all of the measurements and everything. So there is the card we made today. Here is our card sketch number, what did I say? 4. Card sketch number 4. Please let me know what you think about both of those. Card sketch number 4, our card for today. I don't even know what to call that. Beautiful butterfly. And it would have looked so much lovelier had I put some Wing of Stella. So then from the inside of the card, you would have seen that gorgeous, gorgeous sparkle. But, you know, it is what it is. And I'll see you guys all on Sunday. Thank you so much. Please take care of one another and stay safe. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye for now.